Another Miata shitbox edition update. I finally got around to installing a cold air box. All right, it's fed right through here through the snorkel. I'm going to get a vented headlight cover, give it even more cold air. Now, before what I had was the old tuna can. It was sitting on there for about a year and a half, right here at the opening of the compressor housing. Problem with that was it was getting hot air from the radiator and it sat right next to the exhaust. These intake temps were 140 degrees before compression. Okay. And I was asking my intercooler to cool all that air off to down to ambient. No more. All right. With this box, I get cold, dense air getting compressed much more efficiently, much less heat for that intercooler to cool off, cooler air coming through the intercooler because it doesn't have to work as hard. Better for the whole system overall.
I can make an entire series of videos to answer this question, but the short answer is yes, you will always see some sort of benefit. Now, I will admit, before everybody gets upset, 99% of the time, especially if your car is stock and naturally aspirated, you're not going to see a whole lot of benefits. They are arguably still there because the air is cooler. It means it's denser, which means there's more oxygen molecules to react with the fuel molecules, more combustion, more heat, more power. But it might as well be negligible, if I'm being honest. So let's take the intercooler out of the equation. When I first installed my turbo, I had the filter down here taking in 140 degrees and it came straight out over and into the intake manifold. This air temperature going into the intake manifold was 220 degrees at 8 psi. The only reason I didn't melt the entire engine is because I reduced timing and had these injectors just dumping fuel into the cylinders at like 7.5, 8 AFRs. Now, with a cold air intake, you're taking in ambient temperatures, which today is 70 degrees. You're compressing 70-degree air, which means the turbo has to work a lot less. It gets less hot, which means the bearings are cooler, which means the exhaust is more efficient, and it spits out a heck of a lot cooler temperatures going out and into the intake manifold, which means you don't have to dump as much fuel, run less timing. Everything is more efficient. Now we put an intercooler into the equation. All that excess heat that I had before the cold air intake was getting dumped into the cooling capacity of the car. Okay. So with the cold air intake, now my car is able to run more efficiently with cooling capacity rather than performance. So what it boils down to in basic layman's terms is if you have a naturally aspirated car, you're not going to see a whole lot of benefit in having a cold air intake system. And you're much better off not modifying that intake system and spending your money elsewhere. However, if you have forced induction and you've already modified your intake system, you will see benefit in the efficiency of some part of that system. Performance, cooling, usually a mixture of both.